Hey. Time for an out-of-this-world story from our space. Today we have a whirlwind story of betrayal, resilience, and personal growth from a guy who found his world flipped upside down over a single Memorial Day weekend. It would have been 8 years in October. Over Memorial Day weekend, I caught my 27 male girlfriend, 28 female, cheating on me. I had a lot on my mind, so this is going to be a long one. Apologies in advance. I want to talk about the night it all went down, the days since, and life going forward. Context. I've been with my, likely soon-to-be ex-girlfriend for nearly 8 years. We met in college at a party and never looked back. Our relationship was never the most exciting or passionate, but we loved each other. I will be the first to admit I was not a perfect partner. I struggled with alcohol, and we both smoked a fair bit of marijuana through college and our early 20s. I also struggled greatly with depression and anxiety. Despite these issues, I always held down a job and paid the bills. We also rarely fought. I have made great strides in my life to put these issues behind me. I'm completely sober and have worked very hard to become the best future husband and father I can be for our family. Over the years, we've built a life together. We both graduated college, we moved to the big city, and began our careers. We have 2 dogs, luckily no kids, and live in a nice house in a nice suburb that we split rent on. Our lives are integrated. She is a part of my family and I am a part of hers. We have lived together for years and have shared expenses. We are not engaged yet, but I have had a ring for several months now. I had not proposed because I felt there were cracks in our relationship that I wanted to work on before taking the next step. I had tried to have conversations about these issues, but was never met with any meaningful dialogue or action. D-Day. I think the story of my D-Day actually starts a couple weeks before it actually happened. One day before work, I asked my girlfriend, I'll call her Jay, if she could please clean her dishes in the sink and clean up her pile of laundry in the bathroom. No demand or anything, just, please, I'd appreciate it. Jay blew up at me. Do you know how long you were a mess and I put up with it? I was hurt, but at this point, I needed to leave for work, so said we need to talk later and headed out the door. I gathered my thoughts during the day and came home a little early from work. We sat down and I laid out the following points. 1. Please stop using the past against me. I know I wasn't perfect, but I've worked very hard to become a better person. I cannot be in a relationship where my partner will hold my darkest days over my head to win an argument. 2. Jay works the night shift and I have struggled with this in the past. We don't see each other very often as our schedule are completely opposite. She was open to changing to the day shift in the past, but recently has hardened her stance. Recently, she's been sleeping a lot on her days off. I understand night shift is brutal on one's sleep schedule, but it was getting to the point where she'd only be awake 4 to 6 hours on her days off. These few hours she was awake, she would lay on the couch and watch TV. It made having a relationship difficult, and it also meant her share of house duties was falling behind, leaving her dishes in the sink, her clothes all over the place, etc. 3. Sex. Our sex life has never been great. I've been open about my desire to improve things. I've worked on myself to be an attractive partner and have tried to discuss her wants and needs as well. There was never any progress. During this conversation, I asked for her thoughts and feelings on each topic. I desperately wanted to actually dialogue, but she was giving me nothing. Ultimately, she said she needed time to think about what I said. Since the conversation, I had not hardly seen her at all. She had been gone almost a week on a hiking trip with some coworkers that had been planned for a while. Then, because of work, there was another week of not really seeing each other. Friday night, Jay asked if I want to go to a birthday dinner for a family friend on Saturday. I had plans that required me to be up early on Sunday, so I said probably not, as I knew she would want to stay and hang out late with them. She swore she would not, as she had work on Sunday. I only half believed her, but agreed to go because I knew it'd make her happy. Toward the end of dinner, I go to the restroom, and when I come back, what always happens happened. Would you be okay if I actually went out? I won't be much later. She asked in front of the entire group, so I said, sure, you can do what you want. A few minutes later, off to the side, I let her know I was upset that she went back on her word, but she was unfazed. She promised she wouldn't be out very late, and I believed her as the group was primarily mid-30s people with young kids. One of the other people at the birthday dinner assured me they would give her a ride home. I drove home alone, and the anger built. I typed out a long text about how I was hurt, that she didn't come home with me like she said she would, but ultimately deleted it before Sunday. I didn't want to needlessly make her night worse and told myself we would talk in the morning I go to bed. 2 a.m., I wake up to OP. She isn't there. I check my phone and she hasn't texted me at all either. We share locations with each other, so I check, and it's not loading. So I'm getting a bit worried for her safety at this point. I call her and she picks up. Hello? Hey Jay, where are you? Oh, I decided to sleep over at a family friend's house. This alone wasn't concerning, as the family friends were a married couple with young children. We've known them for years, and it was not unusual for her to spend the night there after going out with them. At this point, my concern quickly turns back to anger, because not only did she lie to me again about coming home early, she didn't even text me to let me know her plans changed. I told Jay to get an Uber and come home. We need to talk. She was annoyed and let me know it, but I didn't care. She told me she would order an Uber. Nearly 30 minutes had passed, and I had not heard from her. I check her location again to see if she's on her way. Unlike before, it does load this time. Not only was she not on the way back, she was at a house I didn't recognize. I call her back. Hey, I thought you said you were ordering an Uber and coming home. Also, where are you? Your location is showing you at some house I've never seen. She sticks to her story. She is at family friends. She has no idea why her location is showing the other house, because she's definitely at family friends. I'm uneasy at this point, but still haven't jumped to any conclusions. Maybe it was a glitch. Seemed to be pretty far away from where she was claiming to be for a glitch, and it also hadn't moved at all in a while. But whatever, anything is possible, I suppose. I'm asking her why she keeps lying to me. Lied about not going out in the first place, lied about how long she'd be gone, and lied about calling an Uber 30 minutes ago. She says the Uber is coming in 4 minutes, and that she will call me when it picks her up, because she doesn't want to argue with me in front of family friends. I watch her location, expecting it to jump and correct itself once she starts moving. Instead, it moves exactly as if she was picked up in an Uber from that house. Whatever, she's on her way. I go downstairs and wait for her to arrive. Once she does, I ask her what she did tonight. I went to the bar and then to family friends. I ask her what she was doing at family friends. Just talking. You know I stay there sometimes, what's the big deal? I asked what on earth they were talking about until 2:30 in the morning. It just didn't make sense. They're a mid-30s married couple with young kids and full-time jobs. Staying awake this late just to talk? Well, we were talking about you for one. Me? What about me? For starters, your psychotic behavior tonight. I was mad, sure, but my behavior had been far from psychotic. I never raised my voice and never accused her of anything. I demanded she come home, sure, but I felt I was justified in that. From here, she continues to say that they talked about the discussion from 2 weeks ago, how I attacked her and piled on her for no reason. I was shocked. I thought I had handled that conversation a couple weeks ago very maturely. I was actually proud of myself for taking time to gather my thoughts so that I could calmly lay them out when I got home. At this point, however, I was questioning myself. Did I dogpile on her for no reason? Was the way I approached her an attack? My only thought was maybe at fault one-sided because she refused to engage in any discussion. I asked why she could talk to other people about her relationship but not me. It would never become clear, however, as she said she was done talking. I'm going to bed. I begged her to give me something, anything. I didn't care if her response was in the form of yelling at me. I just needed something. As she was walking up the stairs, I asked her to explain why her location was at that house. The story was the same. She didn't know. She was a family friend's house. I told her I want to believe her, but I know what I saw with my own eyes. It just didn't make sense. I would have believed anything that plausibly put her at that house. I was at family friends, and that's that. If you don't believe me, damn, we have much bigger problems. That was that. I did trust her, and so I accepted it, and went up to join her in bed. There was a little voice in the back of my mind that knew what I saw, but she wouldn't lie, so definitely wouldn't cheat. As I'm about to fall asleep, I sit up suddenly and say, Jay, I have an idea. Half asleep. What? Show me your Uber receipts. That will prove you're telling the truth. Any small doubts I have will be gone, and we can just move on from this. Now she seems to be completely asleep, almost certainly faking it looking back. I grab her phone from under her pillow and unlock it. On the screen is a text thread from a guy I'll call Jake. There were only 2 messages. It's first from earlier in the evening. It's Jay. The kind of message you send when someone puts their number in your phone and you text them so they have your number now. Then, when she forgot to send. Hey, sorry about that. I made it home okay. Even at this point, my naive butt did not jump to cheating. I truly assumed it was probably someone who was also at the dinner and stayed the night at family friends. But then I saw the Uber receipt. It had picked her up from the house her location showed her at. Jay, wake up. You were at that house. What is going on? What happened? It's what it looks like. I asked how she could do this to me. Why would she do this to me? Nothing. Not a single sentence that could be considered a thoughtful response. Despite my demands to know what happened that night, she, as usual, gave me nothing. It's over. You threw away an 8-year relationship. We were supposed to be together forever. You were supposed to be the mother of my children. Only after the words, "It's over," did she show any remorse. The very little information I did get out of her was, this was the first time. I caught her before anything actually happened. I'm not sure I believe her either. It also doesn't really matter to me. Interestingly, about a month prior, she told me she had HPV. She assured me that monogamous people can get it. Based on the research I did, it seemed possible, so I didn't think much of it. Now I wonder, The next few hours were an unproductive loop of various interactions of, "How could you?" and "I'm sorry, I'll do anything to make it up." Eventually, it was 6 a.m. and I still had those plans that brought me home early that night before, a 7 a.m. tea time, so I left. It was actually a blessing, but I had already had pretty much a full day of plans with some friends. First was golf, then some time with the shooting range with another friend who was going to show me the ropes. These are close friends, and I told them everything. They listened to me ramble all day and spent as much time as I needed. Once I knew Jay had left for work, I decided it was time to go back home. I had been up since 2 a.m. and I was exhausted. I don't fall asleep until midnight, awake for about 22 hours on the worst day of my life. The aftermath. Honestly, not much happened after. I hurt. It's a deep, constant ache. It was not overwhelming pain like hearing a family member had died. No, just a constant, deep ache. I reached out to some more friends who have all been incredibly supportive. I'm truly blessed to have the support system I do. The people I really want to talk to but haven't had the courage to call yet are my parents. I can't explain why, but I feel almost embarrassed. I also know that once I tell them the relationship is 100% over with Jay, they will never see her the same, and she'll know it. I can't live with that tension in my whole life. While I'm 99.9% sure this relationship is over, it's hard to say 100%. She was in my life for 8 years. It means a fundamental change in my life presently and the entire future I had planned. Work has been hard. I haven't got a lot done this week. I've been distracting myself by talking to my coworkers. Today, though, I was the only one in the office. Seemed everyone else happened to be working from home. It was not a good day. I've been in my head replaying the events of the weekend and spiraling. Until this point, I was weirdly okay. I think it's the first time I've been alone since it happened, so all the feelings are coming out. Going forward, I'm not sure what the future holds. I have a few short-term plans. 1. City test. 2. Therapy. 3. Talk to my parents and likely make a trip home. I also need to talk to Jay. While I repeatedly said it was over the night it all went down, I think it still needs to be made official. I've not seen Jay since that night. After work Sunday and Monday night, she has been home. I don't think she's left the house. However, I've been spending as much time away as possible, and the little bit I am home, she's in the guest bedroom. I've not had the strength or desire to talk to her. What I'm most scared of is my living situation and the dogs. Well, one dog is clearly mine and one is clearly hers. There's a part of me that worries that she may do something crazy. I don't know what she's capable of anymore. We're locked into this lease until February. I've reread the lease, and it seems we're pretty much stuck. She has family in town she could stay with, but I've got nowhere to go. Although it wouldn't ruin me, it would certainly be financially painful if she stopped paying for her half of the rent. Best case scenario seems to we live as roommates and stay out of each other's way for 8 months. A pretty bleak best case scenario. Once we do separate, is going to be the challenge of divvying up the stuff. We own a lot of nice furniture together. That furniture probably wouldn't fit well into the apartments we'll likely have to move back into after this. It's all too so unclear at this point. Conclusion. If you've made it this far, thanks for listening. Just writing this was very cathartic. I'm open to hearing advice on how I should proceed. Nothing in my life has prepared me for something like this. Edit. Thanks to everyone who took the time to read and comment. Also, thank you to the people who reached out over DMs. I probably didn't respond, but I did read your message. While friends and loved ones are great, it is also helpful to get feedback and advice from people who are more removed from the situation. A lot of these responses have opened my eyes to some hard truths about the relationship I was in. After reading the comments and talking with people in real life, I'm ready to move the 99.9% to 100%. It's over, and it was probably over longer ago than I'd like to admit. I also wanted to respond to the more common comments, questions I'm getting. Has he tried to contact you? No. She sent me a couple general texts throughout the week, letting me know she fed the dogs before I get home, so I didn't double feed them. Yesterday, she informed me she would be staying somewhere else, too, at least today. Other than that, there's been no contact. This is not the first time she cheated on you. Maybe, maybe not. It doesn't change anything for me. I don't really care to learn any more about how much, or who with, or when. That would just be more things to take up space in my mind. This doesn't deserve more space in my mind. You're incredibly naive. Yep, that is now very apparent to me. I don't want to become a hardened cynic going forward, but what I will take away is an important lesson in standing up for my boundaries and seeing the red flags when someone does not respect them. Get her out of the house. Ideally, I would love to and plan to make moves in this direction. However, due to being on the lease, I'm not sure I have much recourse if she says, "I'm not leaving." It also occurred to me that the utilities are in her name, so I would need her cooperation if I were to stay here instead of her. It will be challenging, but I'm sure something will get worked out. I have a strong support system and healthy savings, so this will not put me on the street by any means. Record your conversations and put cameras up. I don't want to believe she would do anything as evil as these comments imply. However, I do understand the importance of protecting myself. Tell your parents. I absolutely will, and very soon. I'm not worried about their responses. I think I just wanted time to process everything. First of all, I want to say how deeply sorry I am that you're going through this. The pain and betrayal you're feeling is real and valid. You've overcome a lot in your life, and this situation is yet another obstacle that I have no doubt you'll get through. What's important to remember is that you have shown great resilience in the past. You've overcome issues with alcohol, marijuana, depression, and anxiety. And these experiences will contribute to your strength in dealing with the current situation. You've made great strides to put these issues behind you, and that shows a lot about your character and perseverance. In dealing with your girlfriend's infidelity, communication is crucial. You've been trying to have these difficult conversations, and that's important. It's also okay to feel upset and angry about her not being straightforward with you. The betrayal you feel is a sign of a deep commitment you had for her, and it's going to take time to heal from this. It's okay to take that time and be gentle with yourself. It's essential to surround yourself with supportive friends and family during this time. Your plans for an STD test, therapy, and going home are all steps in the right direction. These actions show you're taking care of your health, seeking professional help to process your feelings, and reaching out to a familiar and comforting environment. Lastly, remember it's okay to be scared about the future. This situation was unexpected, and it's normal to feel uncertain about the next steps. However, you're not alone in this. Seek advice, lean on your support system, and take each day as it comes. You're stronger than you think, and you will come out of this stronger. Now for a couple community comments. Switchboard Friend starts us off. It seems like you've transcended her. You've turned your life around and are making very healthy and productive ones. She never made the same leap. Relationships can only be successful if both partners are equals. Topo241 says, "I'm sorry this happened. That 99.9% needs to turn into 100% considering the fact she was lied to you multiple times and it clearly was not a one-time thing from the context she provided on how you found out. Reconciliation cannot work if the person isn't truthful, remorseful, which she isn't. Had you not caught her that night, you still would have been living in a lie. I absolutely do not think it is healthy to be stuck living with her for 8 months, and even though it may seem financially painful if it won't ruin you, I strongly suggest telling her to leave, or you yourself leave. I hope you find peace.